Hey everybody, so here is an article that appeared in LinkedIn.com recently. It's called YOLO is Fueling Risky Career Moves. Now YOLO, of course, is an acronym, YOLO. It stands for You Only Live Once. And this is talking about how millennials, according to this article, and when I say article, I mean a paragraph, because this is the entire article. The article is claiming that millennials are ditching traditional jobs and they are starting side hustles and starting their own businesses. And if I'm reading this correctly, this author, Jake Perez, has a little bit of a negative, condescending tone towards young people for doing this. Okay, that's the way I'm reading this. Now, first of all, I think that Jake Perez needs to get some perspective, because it's not just about millennials, it's about all young people of every generation. People in their 20s, you can characterize them with two things. You could say, number one, they think that they know everything. And number two, they want to change the world. Now, that is both incredibly stupid and amazingly admirable. Okay, but it is a characteristic of youth. And I think a lot of the older people among us, myself included, the reality is that we get old, we get conservative, and a lot of people who are old, you know, we like to tell ourselves that we still have the idealism of youth, but we don't. We end up being conservative, we end up being risk averse, and it's a shame when people don't admit that. Now, what I want to say is that for all those young people who are wanting to focus on side hustles or start their own business, and they are less and less interested in traditional 9-to-5 type jobs working for large organizations or even mid-size and small business, that doesn't really interest them either. You know, I gotta say, that's very admirable, and I wish you the best of luck, okay? You're only young once, and if you want to start your own side hustle, first of all, there's absolutely nothing wrong with starting a side hustle. This is something you do on the side. And I don't understand what the problem is in this article with a side hustle, because you're not quitting your day job for it. Now, if you want to start your own business, I salute you. That's admirable. There has never been a better time to start your own business than right now. The internet and modern technology is making this easier than it has ever been before. It's easier to reach tons of people and potential customers. It's also cheaper to operate your business and to do marketing on the internet than it ever has been in the past, okay? Now, if that weren't enough, we also have recent global events that are pushing people in this direction also. So when you put all those things together, for all the millennials out there and all the young people, or regardless of what generation they're in, I highly encourage you to do this. And I disagree with the general tone of this article. However, there is one thing I will say in the favor of Jake Perez here, the author of this article, and that is that, speaking as somebody who has mentored many, many entrepreneurs and startup founders, people that have started their own companies, people that have led them to incredible success, some of them, and have failed, some others, I gotta say that one thing about young people is that unfortunately they tend to do this stuff without really thinking it through and without knowing everything before they start. Now, you can't blame people for not knowing everything, but the problem is that the key to doing entrepreneurial ventures is to manage the downside, okay? Every time we try an idea, it has about a 5% chance of success. This is statistically true. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go look it up. Now, the problem is, a 95% chance of failure. Unfortunately, that's bad, but the good side is that you can try many ideas, one after another. And sooner or later, if you're persistent and you keep learning, and you have a little bit of luck on your side, you can eventually find success. Now, the problem that I've seen with a lot of entrepreneurs coming to me, and me being a consultant and someone that has mentored a lot of startup founders, is that the problem is on their first idea, they might take out loans and go in $200,000 in debt to try their first idea. And the problem with this is that you have a 5% chance of success at the best of times. If it's your very first attempt, I'm sure it's lower than 5%. And the problem is that if it fails, you can't try again, because now you have to repay your debts, and you're going to be paying off those debts for many, many years to come. And you have to resort to taking a career job, or at least a day job at an existing company. So I've seen people do this, and I've advised against people doing this, but they've done it anyway. And this is a problem. So in that respect, I would agree with this article that millennials, they've got the spirit, they've got the energy, and that's great, but they've got to manage the downside. If you can manage the downside, you can control the amount that you can lose if your idea isn't successful, so that you can dust yourself off and try again, then you will probably succeed eventually. That has been my experience, being both an entrepreneur and a mentor of entrepreneurs. So it's interesting because this has been generating a lot of comments and a lot of feedback, and it's going both ways. But I'm going to probably go against the grain here and say, if you're young, you want to start a company, go ahead. I salute you. There's never been a better time to do it. Just try and manage the downside. Get a mentor if you can. Get someone who's been there, who's done it, and is willing to share some of their experience with you. Get them to be a person that you can run your ideas by, and try and manage the amount of money you put into it before you get a proof of success. And there's no telling where it'll go. The sky's the limit. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you like what you heard. Always remember, you are awesome, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.